Okay, so up to now we have everything as far as the basic handlings of Photoshop that's necessary to start something like this little project. So here we're going to recreate the digital version of this birthday card. First thing I'm going to do, just because I can, as a photo retoucher, this looks a little yellow to me. So just as a refresher, I'm going to apply an adjustment. I'm going to click levels. And instead of using the color balance thing, I'm going to show you there's three little droppers to the left of the histogram here. And if I click this one, it's black, this one's gray, and this one's white. If you just pick one and you click on something that should be white, it will readjust all the colors accordingly. And you can keep clicking in different areas to kind of sample what's going to look like. This looks a little blown out to me, so I'm going to click up here so that it'll reset based on that. And that looks pretty good. So this was before and after. Okay, so that looks a little more true. So let's see, we have this back black, well, it's gray, this dark gray background. And then on top of that, we have this happy birthday. So let me go to my files. So I created a folder on my desktop called Scrapbook Files. And then in here, I've been collecting different types of things for this project. So here I have dark gray paper. So that I think I'm going to use for the background. And then I found, as far as the happy birthday thing, I found a picture of somebody who made a card. And I'm going to basically take just the top part of that. So let's see. So for this picture, I'm going to have to like cut out the rest of it and fix the skew. So you can see this is kind of like that picture of a sign where someone didn't take the picture straight on. So I need the program to do a perspective crop to kind of make it more flat. So that's actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to check all these components. The dark gray paper, I think that one's good. I don't have to change anything about that. I will use it as is. But this happy birthday background, I need to fix that real quick. So let me open Photoshop. I'm going to go to File, Open, and I'm going to select that file. And I need to do a perspective crop. We talked about this up here. Again, you can right click and perspective crop tool is the second option. I'm going to select the corner where it says happy birthday. And I'm going to try to line up the corners. Of course, you can zoom in if that makes it easier. Try to line up this corner here, just like that. Hold down the space bar. Line up that corner there. Hold down the space bar to zoom around. I'm going to line up that corner there, space bar, and this corner there. Perfect. Command 0 to go fit to screen. And as soon as I hit enter, it's going to crop it and only have the happy birthday paper, but it's also going to fix the angle that you're seeing this from. It's going to try to straighten it out. Perfect. That's what I want. So I'm going to save it just like that. It's as a JPEG right now. That's fine. I'm just going to save it as a JPEG again. And I don't want to limit any quality at this point. I will do that at the very end. So, okay, so I think this is now fixed. Perfect. So we got the dark paper, that's check. We got the happy birthday stuff, that's check. Next is this film strip. So in mine, I was able to find a not so great film strip. I will go ahead and open it. I need to fix it. So I want it to be black. And I don't need all of this excess stuff. So first I'm going to go through and I'm going to crop it. Just like that. And hit enter. Okay, that's pretty close. It looks like there's a little area over here that's still white. I'm going to use the control button so that I can more carefully crop just a little bit, just like that. Okay. Now I need to select all of the white because I think that would be easiest. See, if I was to try to select all of the other parts, it's orange and shades of dark brown and blue and red and green. I think there's just too much variation to try to select that. If I go and I try to select white, all the white is pretty much all the same color. I think the easy way to do this would be to use the magic wand tool. I'm going to set the tolerance to like 30. And if I choose contiguous, that means it has to be touching. So if I click this area here, it will only choose the white in this area, and it cannot cross anything that's not white. If I choose this one, it's going to only pick here. And notice when I click and make a new selection, it gets rid of my last selection. And that's because we're on single selection, this option here at the top. If I do this add to selection and I click a new area, it will now keep both areas. If I click a third one, it will now have 3 areas. I'm going to hit Command D to deselect. If you take off contiguous and then you click it, it'll select all the white in the photo, even if it's not touching. And that is great. So I just selected the white so that I can delete it. So what I'm going to do is, let's see, first I'm going to hit select inverse, and I'm going to get my paintbrush. Got my paintbrush, and I'm going to switch this. See, it's got white and tan. I want to click this and reset it to black. I want to paint so that all this isn't like brown and green. I want it to look black. So let me do that. Okay. Now the other areas, so I just painted everything that's black. I'm going to now select the non-black areas by reversing the selection. Now it's selected the white. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to unlock this background layer. Right now it's locked, meaning I can't delete anything. But if I rename it, now that lock disappears. Now I can hit the delete key and it will delete that white. So now it's essentially transparent, and that's what I want. Because if you look at this card, if you look in between the film strips, you can see the happy birthday. If I don't delete that white part, then you won't see that. So now, because this is a JPEG, if I try to save this as a JPEG, it will fill all this transparent areas in with white, and I don't want that. So I'm not going to save this as a JPEG. I'm going to save this as probably a PNG. Let's see. I'm going to call this, you can also save it as a Photoshop file. That's an option. That's an easy way to do it. PNG and Photoshop files both allow for transparencies. I'll just leave it as Photoshop actually, just because that's easy. Okay, so there we go. I think I saved it. Let me just double check. I'm going to go to open and just take a look. Yeah, so there's the original one and there's the one that I just made. Okay, so we got the gray background, we have the happy birthday, we have the film strip. There's a few more pieces now. We got stars, and then a camera, and then the lens and the flash. So let's see if we can make those. So I don't need this open anymore. The camera. Let me take a look at what we have. I selected this camera. I was just looking on whatever was free on Adobe Stock. Seems decent enough. We can get rid of parts of it if we don't want them. So like if we don't want these little handles, we can remove them. Let's see. Let's do that now. So I'm going to open Photoshop again. And I'm going to go File, Open, and choose the little camera. And let's say that I want to get rid of those little handles. I'm going to zoom in, use the space bar, pull myself over. In this case, I think the selection would be really easy with this polygonal lasso tool. Remember, it draws straight lines. So if I select like this, click, click, just like that. Now I can come back in and erase it. So let's use, we haven't used the eraser yet. Let's use the eraser. Perfect. Hit Command D to deselect, and I can just erase this part without a selection. Okay, we're going to zoom into that part down there. Oh, there's a little piece right here too. I'm going to hit the space bar. You can come in and just freehand it if you want. I think it's easiest again to use that lasso tool and come in and just make a straight line. Double click. Come back to the eraser, which in this case, if you look, is the E key. So if I just hit E, now I'm on the eraser. I'm going to deselect with Command D and then Command 0. So the left side looks pretty good. I'm just going to do this side really quickly. I'll get rid of most of the strap, and then I will zoom in with Command plus, flow over with the spacebar. I'm going to pull open my polygon tool, and I'm going to draw a straight line just like that. Hit E and erase. Command D to deselect. Spacebar to move down. Now the hotkey for this tool is, it looks like L. So if I was to hit L, now it brings me back to my lasso tool. Come in like this, double click, E for the eraser, erase, Command D to deselect, and we're done. Alright, so that's the camera. Now if you look back at the birthday mat, the birthday card, the camera doesn't have a border around it. So we can either try to delete that white border now, or we can just mask it later. It doesn't really matter. We'll just use a mask because it's another skill that we can learn. So I'm just going to save this the way it is, and we'll use a mask when we do it. It's showing that right now if I save this, it's going to be 3.4 megabytes, which is pretty big for something so simple. I'm not going to worry about that right now though. Alright, so we got that. Inside of the camera there's going to be a camera lens and then a flash. I got some different things for that. They won't look quite like the card. We could make it look like the card. I went ahead and found a picture of a lens, just like this, and I was just going to take out just the glass part and put that in the camera just for fun. You can make it look more cartoon-like or very simplistic, or you can take and put a black and white filter over this and make this all just black and white and get rid of the color. You can do a bunch of different things. And then as far as the flashes, I found some different pictures of flashes. So there's one like that. There's one like this. There's one like this. And there's another one like this. That one, it looks like, isn't very big. I'm not going to use that one. So let's get rid of that one. Okay, so back to the card really quick. The other thing I could do is I could easily just draw some lines. That's easy enough to do with like the brush or a pencil tool. Just to draw some lines around it like that. And that would do the same thing. So, okay. So we got those components. Let's go ahead and see about the star. So I don't really have a great option for a star. So I found a picture of some different stars, and I wanted to make my own shape from this. So I think I'm going to use this star here in the center. Most of this picture I don't need, so I'm just going to crop it. Just like that. Perfect. And I'm going to hit Command 0 to blow this up. If I use the object selection tool, you can probably just click on the star, and I imagine after it's done processing, it will just select it. It looks really simple. It's just two colors. Well, it doesn't look like it's selecting it. Alright, well, that's what you get. So you can use the quick select tool and come in and just pick. Oh, there we go. That was perfect. I am going to create a new layer, and I'm going to draw the star in this layer. So if I go back to the card, it's using this green color. I'm going to use the eyedropper and pick up that green color. Why is it not picking up the green? Oh, because I want to be in the background. So if I select the background and then click on this, now it picks up the green color, because there's no color in this levels adjustment, and that's what I was on. Okay, so now I picked up this green color. It's right there in my swatch. I'm going to go back. I'm going to grab my brush, and I'm going to paint a green star. And it's all because of the selection. So that's all I really needed the picture for. So now I can double click, hit OK, and that unlocks that layer. And now I can drag that layer to the trash. And now I'm just left with this green star. It's not perfect, but it is good enough. I'm going to go ahead and save this. Save as. I'm just going to call it star. And it can save as a Photoshop file, that's fine. There's probably a better way to create a star. Matter of fact, now that we have a star, another thing you could do, because it's all straight lines, is use the polygonal tool and just create straight lines like this. That's another way to make a star. Probably will give you sharper edges. And then you'll see when I touch the two pieces together, if you don't use the double click method, you'll see there's a little circle that pops up right there by the symbol, and that means you can close them. There we go. Same thing, if I now, with that selection, brushed in this part, and then I inverse this selection, and use the eraser tool, and erase, now it will make those edges a little more crisp. So that works out. Command D to deselect. So now we have a star. I'm going to save that, just like that. Command S for save. You can see that here. File, save, Command S. Alright, so now we have a star. And of course all the stars are pretty much the same. The only thing that's different is the size. That's easy enough. Then there's this little brad on top of this like sign. Let's see, I want to look at some different options for this. So I couldn't find a brad in like a Adobe stock, at least their free stuff. So let me show you what I did find. I found some pictures of some ball bearings, so I could use a ball bearing picture. And then I also found there's different types of like nail heads. So I could use like one of these if I wanted to. This one's not bad. With this like waffle iron kind of look. But I think I might use the ball bearings. So I don't need most of this picture, so again I can crop probably most of it out. just like that. And then Command 0 to fit the screen. Let's see, if I want to use the quick select, I'm going to use the right bracket to make this a little bigger and see if we can just quickly select around the ball. It did okay towards the shadow. It got a little confused. Alright, so I'm going to hold down the Option key now to take away from the selection. Okay. This part down here is not perfect. I'm going to shrink the size of what I'm using to work. That's not bad. I'm going to change to the elliptical tool, so this is this second one down. We'll see, it looks like right now I'm working on the background, so I'm going to, let's see, let me inverse the selection to where I'm selecting the ball. And let me see if I can add to the selection. Let's see if we can add just something like that. This part looks a little funny still. Something. It's close. Well, I don't think that last one helped that much. Okay, well, I think that's probably good enough. These details are probably too small to be seen. So right now the ball is selected. I'm going to reverse the selection again so that it's selecting the background. And I'm going to unlock this layer. Right now it's locked because it's the only thing here. I'm going to double click. Just click OK. It's going to name it layer 0. That's fine. And now the lock is gone. Because I'm selected on the background and not the ball, I can just hit delete and it will delete that. You can also mask it. You can use the eraser tool. It's the same. I'm going to hit Command D to deselect. I'm going to hit my eraser tool just a little bit and I'm going to zoom in, use the space bar to look down, and I could just clean this up manually, just like that. Again, it's not perfect, but it looks better. Okay, so now I'm going to save this file, save on my computer, and we'll just save it with all those other ones. Photoshop file is fine, save. Okay, very good. So now we got the ball bearing. This shape will be interesting to try to make. I don't think I had saved anything for that particularly. Yeah, I think I was just planning on making that from scratch. So we will do that later. I think that is close to all the components that we needed. Yeah, so okay, so that covers the prep. Now, if you and your scrapbooking friends have like different files that are already like ready to go and you can literally just piece them together, like you already have like a leaf or you know, whatever it is, a key or a ghost, like different things that you would use in your scrapbooking, if they're already like files and they're ready made and ready to go and you don't have to process them like I'm just doing in this video, that will save a lot of time and you can focus more on what you're creating. But you know, you do what you have. to work with. Uh, there's a lot of flexibility when you learn these skills because you can take things that aren't necessarily, um, purchased and make your own from it. So it's handy to be able to do these things. It just takes time. So, okay, that's where I'm going to end this one. I think in the next step, in the next video, we're going to start actually making the card. And I will see you next time.